from the regulator side as well as from the stakeholder side, so that our customers, our consumers, members of the general public are in a space that is protected, are in a space that is sanitized, are in a space that ensures that there is growth. Our sector facilitates for economic growth. Our sector facilitates for the development of the nation. If we feed our people garbage, we are going to produce a garbage nation, and we should not be in a situation that is facilitating for that. So this is why we would like to work with you as we proceed to do our various duties. From here, we're going to go to Lilongwe to ensure that those operators and those stakeholders based in Lilongwe also have this access. And then finally, we'll go to Mzuzu to also give people based in the northern region this opportunity. But I think this year we're going to take it a step further. Instead of hosting these activities in hotels under air cons, I think we're also going to try some open air activities where we can take Macra to the communities and ensure that members of the general public have direct access to us. We see the feedback that people write on Facebook about your services. We want now to hear from them. So other than the air cons, we are now going to take it a step further to ensure that members of the general public, where they are, they can also give us feedback about our services as a regulator, but most importantly, about your services as service providers. Just mentioning that, I can see TNM officials fixing their jackets and ensuring that the game is on. But the point is we should ensure that every stakeholder is able to reach the regulator and every stakeholder is able to be heard. And most importantly, we should move together. Probably by next year, we're going to have about 4 new laws that are coming in, new digital laws that are going to affect everyone. There's a law on cybercrime, there's a law on e-evidence, there's a law on cybersecurity, and we're also amending the Communication Act of 2016, and we're also amending the Electronic Transaction Act and Cybersecurity Act of 2016, so that in 2024-25, we should move along with global trends. So that will introduce a totally new ballgame in the digital space, and it is very important that you, our stakeholders, are also aware of those developments, so that amongst your circles, you can also help to facilitate for us to ensure that there is a smooth landing of these new laws and amendments. With those few remarks again, welcome to Macra, Board Chair, welcome to Macra, Honorable Minister, and the rest of the distinguished delegates. Thank you very much.
Normally in church would say we can do better. Let's put our hands together once more time for Mr. Daud Suleiman, the Macra Director General. Just some of the points that is made, that the regulator wants to be accessible. We should be able to access the regulator. It's not like a police and a fifth situation.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. And DG, it's good you brought a Director of Ceremonies who is also one of the licensees. The guest of honor, Minister of Information and Digitalization, Honorable Moses Kunkuyu Kalonga Shawa, Mr. Bodwin Chiamaka, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information and Digitalization, fellow directors present, Macra DG, Madam Postmaster General, distinguished operators, all stakeholders, Macra management and members of staff, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mwadzuka bwanji. Tadzuka. Before I start my speech, Honorable Minister, allow me to introduce my fellow directors present here, so that during interactions, our stakeholders would know who exactly to engage with. May I request my fellow directors to stand, please? Okay. Over there we have Director Chuti, Director Stella Chuti, Mr. Chiamwaka, his ex-official member, Madam Director Malakawale, Director Yatsman Odala Menyani. Thank you very much. I would like to once again and in a special way welcome you, Honorable Minister, and distinguished participants to this Macra Open Day, and appreciate your presence at this event. Honorable Minister, let me, on behalf of the board, thank you sincerely for making time to attend this meeting. We appreciate the support we receive from you as an individual as well as in your formal capacity. You were with us last week in Lilongwe, and we are very thankful that you are also with us today here. Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Macra has this week organized a Macra Open Week with the main objective of providing an interactive forum with operators and consumers in order for us to enhance our regulatory function. As the DG mentioned, we are going to have these open weeks rather in all the 3 regions. This Macra Open Week provides us with a unique opportunity to engage directly with operators, consumers, and prospective licensees, thereby enhancing Macra's regulatory functions and ensuring that our policies and practices address the needs of all stakeholders at community, district, and national levels. Macra is expecting that the interaction during these will, among others, allow prospects to obtain feedback on queries or information on how to operate an ICT business in Malawi, provide information on Macra's regulatory functions, tools needed and required expertise, assist prospective license applicants with procedures and any requirements that may need clarification. We also intend to provide updates to consumers and stakeholders on the latest developments being carried out in the sector, and we will also discuss frequency allocation, current status, challenges, and solutions. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, Macra, as the regulatory body for the communications sector in Malawi, is tasked with the responsibility of ensuring a robust regulatory framework that encourages fair competition, protection of consumer interests, and fostering an environment conducive to innovation and investment. For us to achieve this and maintain the integrity and stability of the ICT sector, we employ a range of tools and expertise, which include spectrum management, licensing, monitoring compliance, and consumer protection. At a personal level, I would like to call upon all stakeholders here to engage positively and actively during this week on the understanding that collaboration, coordination, and effective consultation are key to the success in the telecommunications industry. Further engagement with consumers and stakeholders, Honourable Minister, is a cornerstone of effective regulation and coordination. It is through this engagement that we can gather feedback, understand challenges, and refine our policies. I therefore urge all stakeholders to actively participate in this forum, share experiences, and provide constructive feedback. Your input is invaluable in shaping a regulatory environment that is responsive and inclusive. Honourable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, frequency allocation remains a critical issue in the ICT sector. Efficient spectrum management is essential for ensuring that all operators have fair access to the frequencies they need to deliver services. The current status of frequency allocation and the steps being taken to overcome challenges will be discussed in detail during this open week. During this week, Honourable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, we will also highlight key projects, innovations, and initiatives that are shaping the future of the ICT sector in Malawi. These include advancements in digital infrastructure, efforts to enhance connectivity, and initiatives aimed at bridging the digital divide. I extend my gratitude to all the participants for your presence and engagement. Let us work together to build a vibrant, resilient, and inclusive ICT sector. A sector that serves the needs of all Malawians in all their diversity, thereby enabling an investment environment, closing the digital divide, and strengthening public-private partnerships, community system strengthening, and supporting innovation. Special thanks to all those who have contributed to the success of this event. Your efforts are greatly appreciated, and I look forward to the fruitful discussions and outcomes that will emerge from this open week. Let me reiterate what the DG earlier on mentioned, that as a board, we are available for the whole event, and feel free to come and engage us on your issues. Thank you, and on behalf of the Macra board, I wish you all a productive and insightful Macra Open Week. Honourable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention, and may God bless us all. Thank you.
Once again, may we please put our hands together for the board chair. Thank you, board chair, Mrs. Bridget Chibwana, for the remarks. Honorable Minister, maybe just to highlight some of the things that she said quickly. We're here so that Macra can enhance regulatory functions. We're very key to make sure that we're providing feedback that is constructive. Constructive feedback is very important. We should always be constructive. But also, we also need to share experiences. We do not have to reinvent the wheel, There are others that have experience that we can also leverage on. So please let us share those experiences. And I'm also happy that the board chair did recognize that I'm from one of the players, because normally what you do is when you get a letter from Macra, they always tell you that we are inviting you for a chat. But I assure you it's not a chat. But today we're going to have a chat because we are meeting in a hotel. You don't have a chat at Macra offices. But here, let's have a chat. Board chair is asking us to be very active in terms of doing our engagement and interactive. Thank you very much for that assurance, because Bwana Suleiman can be scared at times, you know, with his closing up because for non-payment and compliance, but she has assured us today that we are safe. So thank you very much, Board Chair. At this time, may I now ask our guest of honor, Minister of Information and Digitalization, Honorable Moses Kunkuyu Kalunga-Shawa, to give us. Oh, sorry, my apologies. My apologies, Honorable Minister. I think my program is not indicating that I'm supposed first to ask the PS for the Ministry of Information and Digitalization, Bwana Baldwin Samuel Chiamwaka. Sir, you do the honors, I think, of inviting the Minister to address us. But for now, may we have PS for the Minister of Information, Mr. Chiamwaka, please. Thank you.
Muntu akakhawuti kwawo sanamgwiritse bonkhuku olombuza amapanga zimenezo. Our guest of honor, Honorable Minister, Minister of Information and Digitalization, Honorable Moses Kunkuyu Kalunga-Shawa, and the Macra Board Chairperson, Mrs. Bridget Chibwana, and all Macra directors who are my colleagues in the board, Macra Director General, Mr. Daudi Suleiman, and your management present here. Honorable Minister, allow me to also recognize Malawi Post Corporation's Postmaster General, who is with us. We are privileged to have her. Thank you for coming. All stakeholders and consumers present, members of the media. Normally, I would have taken off the cap, but allow me to proudly brand Macra today. I asked the DG to give me at least this. I wanted also to take off the jacket, but perhaps that's the only thing that I can reserve on me. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, firstly, I would like to thank you on behalf of the Minister, Honorable Minister, for accepting to be available during this week, which is a very, very important week for Macra. It's not just a tradition or a routine, but a very important exercise. You heard the DG explaining what it all means. And I'm sure that if nothing emerges, you'll be with us throughout the time in Lilongwe and in Mzuzu. So thank you very much for coming. May I also thank Macra Board of Directors and Management for coming up with the Open Week to interact with the already existing licensees and potential ones, future licensees, consumers, users of communication services, and most importantly, members of the public. Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is critical that all public institutions such as Macra and of course Malawi Post and corporations, just an example, are always accountable to the public, consumers and operators that they serve. Such interface reminds public institutions like Macra to always be accountable to the people of Malawi. It reminds me one of the favorable congratulatory messages I received when I was appointed infant yanklinchije wapa kuti anthu ambiri udindo undinene palandu namati PS ine sine PS ndine secretary for information. PS tu nkochekerako kamusi. And kupera makonda zimenezi nkumakira anthu DG mungu auza secretary ndudi ndo amene adalipasa nduna umenewo. But all I want to say, Honorable Minister, is that one of the congratulatory messages I received was from Dr. Thomas Muntari, the Director General of the Planning Commission, the National Planning Commission. I will just read an extract from you. He said, remember, these are very temporal positions of privilege and service. May you leave a lasting legacy, you know, but it's a longer message. I always go back to this message, always, so that the secretary ndukunyadirawo usalowe mutumo. It's a temporal, privileged position for all of us. And one way through which we can demonstrate that these are temporal positions of privilege is to allow the owners, the public, like in this case, Macra, licensees, consumers to come. Let's give them accessibility. And that's exactly what you are doing, Madam Bochair, DG, and your management, to provide access so that they can come. And I'm very happy because you've also mentioned that in future, it may not only be in a beautiful place like this one, but following, you know, the consumers where they are. I think in future, perhaps this is just a proposal suggestion, you may also include what we call public clinics. These public clinics, you go out there and do a diagnosis of where communication services fail among the public. You just go there and do mobile clinics, Lero Zomba, Mawa Kumchinji, Kucha Kwakuti. They are normally beautiful. But you can also do public hearings to enhance awareness and literacy. You may have beautiful communications products, including regulatory frameworks, but if people are not literate how to use them, they remain on our shelves. So public hearings to enhance awareness and literacy are my proposals, just augmenting to what you said, DG. I want to assure all institutions and parastatals under the ministry, including Macra, that we will always also, as a minister, be transparent, and you have given us a privilege to come here to participate in this, but also to be accountable. And may I also assure Honorable Minister that Macra Open Week is conducted against the realization of the impact that communication sector has on our economy, envisioned in the Strategic Economic and Development Blueprint, the Malawi 2063. I want to vouch for Macra that they are really, really speedily progressing and working towards contributing to this vision, the Malawi 2063 vision. And that in this vision, a robust ICT infrastructure with the cross-country coverage of reliable and affordable services fostering technology adoption and digital access is clearly spelled out. Mutithandize Macra ngakhale kuti inde machita focus on regulation koma absorption. Kozo kupatsani chitsanzo mbomamu tidayika domain ya email koma mmene anthu amakanira kusiya Gmail, Yahoo, kumafuna be. So you may provide these services koma absorption iso imakhala vuto. And I know that at the moment, the institution that we can rely on in terms of implementation and access to the public is Macra. So also in your programs include when these are provided, people can absorb them and utilize the communication services. Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, regulating such a critical sector of our economy cannot be left in the hands of government and Macra alone. It requires the involvement of all of us. This is why we are happy that you are here, you came, you responded to the invitation to this Open Week. And this Open Week, therefore, provides all of us a golden opportunity to review and analyze how our communication sector is being regulated nthawi zina timachita communicate mwina using ma platform abwino, freedom of expression, but this platform is good here, the Open Week, because you have that interaction. Kusiyana ndi movie wachibayibayi kungolemba mwinaso sawerenganso amene mufuna kuti amve, but also to be informed of the various opportunities that are in this sector, to have obligations and responsibilities as I mentioned, as government, as regulators and licensees, as consumers. Honorable Minister, these are just a few remarks with your indulgence that I wanted to just sandwich your speech this morning. And I'm so privileged with a singular honor to request you, our guest of honor, Honorable Minister, to come and address us. Thank you very, very much.
Good morning. Secretary for Information and Digitization, Mr. Blantyre, thank you for those remarks. You call them few. It sends us to our dictionaries to try what few means from today. Let's call them few for this morning. Macra board chairperson and all directors present this morning. Mr. Daud Suleiman, the Director General of Macra, and all directors and management of Macra, the Postmaster General, Madam Angel Zanga, our esteemed operators, all stakeholders present this morning, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Ndagonda ndagamba nkufusa kuti anayambapo wanderer andimuzamwe anayamba nkufusa manna kuti akuti mukapita ku Macra mukamva kuti Macra has invited you for a chat imati simachezawa kwenikweni zimene ndikhozovomerezana nanu kuti nzoona zenezene. Probably the chatting can take place in this room this morning. But I would like to know what runs down our spine when we hear Kuti Macra. Whether you're reading about Macra, kaya mwangoganiza za Macra, chimene chimatibwerera Kuti Macra ndi chani. I believe alisa kuzokhala mafuso yake depending kuti Macra adaifuna pachifukwa chani. No, Macra licensed us. No, Macra then revoked our license. No, Macra this, Macra that. Koma tikawerenga ulimeza yamba nefunda bene wina wika ntchito yake panzere tikawerenga malamulo amene Macra idakhazikitsidwira ndekuti malamulo amene aja akutiuza kuti tipite ku Macra tikapeze license ntchito imene timagwirayo sichoncho nanga ndivene paja timalitsatira lamulo lija ulananga si Macra is mandated to license us if we want to operate in this field, be it a courier service, a postal service, or a broadcasting service. So we oblige when it comes to us knocking on the doors of Macra to obtain that license. Then under the same laws, Macra is mandated further to crack a whip should you not obey certain aspects of the same law. When it comes to that, nditi mati Macra ujati nthawe tinawerenga malamulo nditi tinapita kwagogoda mutipatseko license lifuna tidzipanga izi malamulo watawerenga kuti pakatha mwezi tizikapita pakatha chaka tidzikulipirani mwakuti ndeke nako talephera olipira ndi Macra udzabwera mmalamulo omwe aja ndimati Macra aja tsopano mwayambola akuitsa ndi aliyenseno ali ndi chimene akuidziwira Macra. Menankati, please come for a chat. Every one of us knows what was contained in that letter, though the vocabulary is the same, come for a chat. Every one of us knows what sort of a chat it was when you got there. That is why ukamatuluka chimakuwa chigulu wapokatuluka timabwera alese veka kubuma mwaeka kuti ndakachezadi ku Macra. I feel greatly honored and delighted to join you this morning at the start of this Macra Open Week. This is the first of the 3 open days that have been organized to take place during the week. here, starting here in Blantyre, then we're going to go to Lilongwe and then proceed to Mzuzu. The Open Week, as others have said, is aimed at providing an interactive forum with operators and consumers to allow Macra enhance its regulatory functions, among others. The communication sector is dynamic and rapidly evolving, and keeping pace with the latest developments crucial for meeting the needs of consumers. Let me therefore encourage all of you to seize this opportunity to engage, collaborate, and contribute to the discussions, as your active participation is essential for the success of this event and the continued development of our communication sector. This Open Week offers an opportunity for all stakeholders to collectively work together to foster a vibrant and inclusive ICT sector in Malawi. The government, through the leadership of Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, the state president, recognizes the importance of ICT in driving socio-economic development. The president has actually made digital transformation as one of the goals of his government. Government policies are therefore designed to support innovation, enhance connectivity, and ensure that the benefits of digitization reach every corner of our nation. The prosperity of our country hinges on our ability to embrace and adapt to the rapid pace of technological change. In pursuit of this goal, I am pleased to announce that Cabinet recently approved the National Digitization Policy and the Digital Economy Strategy, which are significant milestones in our collective efforts to advance digital transformation in the country. Further to this, my ministry is also investing in crucial ICT infrastructure, promoting digital literacy and skills development, and fostering collaboration between the public and private sectors. Initiatives such as the construction of a data center in Lilongwe, the erection of solar power telecommunication towers in rural areas, and the connectivity of over 500 government institutions to the internet across the country, including higher learning institutions and secondary schools, lay a foundation for a vibrant and resilient digital economy. Government's commitment to promoting ICT can also be seen through the installation of free public Wi-Fi at various sites such as markets and airports, and the development of the Malawi Interoperability and Data Exchange Platform. Additionally, government has also provided $2 million in support to tech hubs. I am pleased also to announce that recently, government secured a $150 million grant from the World Bank for the Digital Acceleration Project. This is a successor to the Digital Malawi Foundation project, which my ministry has been implementing in collaboration with the Public-Private Partnership Commission. This project will further boost Malawi's digitization efforts and transform our participation in the digital economy. In addition, a UNDP-funded basket of $10 million has also been availed to Malawi government through the Inclusive Digital Transformation Project. Malawi is also among countries that have been earmarked to benefit from the International Telecommunication Union Africa BBMAPS initiative, which will assist to bridge the digital divide and ensure digital inclusivity. Through this initiative, Malawi and other 11 sub-Saharan countries will receive 15 million euros, which is about 28 billion kwacha, over 4 years, from 2024 to 2027, for development of broadband mapping systems that can produce readily available validated data to identify internet connectivity gaps in coverage, quality, and affordability. Looking ahead, our vision for the ICT sector is one of growth, innovation, and inclusivity. We know that by leveraging the power of digital technologies, we can create opportunities, enhance service delivery, and improve the quality of life for all Malawians. Macra's role as a regulator for the communication sector is therefore crucial. It ensures fair competition, protects consumer interests, and fosters an environment conducive for innovation and investment. This Open Week is therefore crucial for Macra to get insights from operators, licensees, and consumers on how best to effectively and progressively regulate Malawi's communication sector. Let me therefore ask all of us here to join hands and work towards leveraging the digital transformation as a gateway to economic empowerment and harness the power of technology to build a brighter future for ourselves and the generations to come. As I conclude, allow me to repeat the question I raised in the first place, what runs through our mind whenever we hear about Macra? Is it the connected school projects? That Macra is now driving that project through our ministry. We are connecting schools. Is it about the Data Yard 2 project, which ensures that we have access to data and very affordable and reliable data? When we hear of Macra, do we recall the days when we used to say data must fall, and do we go on the internet and Google the cheapest data market in Africa and we find that it's Malawi #1? Are those the things that run down our mind when we think about Macra? Or we only remember when Macra knocked on our doors and said, you owe us? Macra operates more Mogwiza than the Malamulo. So let's not wait until we feel Macra has stepped on our feet. But let's act progressively, let's act proactively, so that we know where to place our feet. Osatariponda paziratu, kwa muonepo ika paziro likhalipa bwino. Chifoti Macra idzingoenda munjira yake. Tikuyenda ndi lamulo basi. Lamulo limene lingagwiritsidwe ntchito kuti tisamabe mdziko muno. Sitingeroba ine ndani. Wabera ndani. Akubera ndi kunyumba kwanu, you're going to complain to the law enforcement agencies, and munthu opita ku court akapezeka ndi olakwa akamangidwa nakuberani. The same laws will apply. Munthu akaba chuma cha boma kapena akaba chuma cha ine. Akuti kwa nani? Ma internet achuka. Ndemu kudandaula disinformation, wandipanga defame, wandilakwira wanditukwana patsamba la nchezo. Lamulo limene lija mukuyang'ana kwa amene kuti sungira data yathu ndi ndani. The Data Protection Agency in Malawi is under Macra. That is sololera nizi wakuti ndonongera pakuti okwiza ntchito ID yanga mola kuika wakabera anthu ndalama. You are knocking on the doors of Macra to apply that law. Atukwana afumu anu, atukwana amayi anu, atukwana abusa anu. Lamulo limene lija ligwira ntchito kuti amene akutukwana nuja abweretsedwe to book. Lamulo lomwelo otukwanayo kaiwewe ukatukwana ine, I'll use the same law. Otukwanayo ukatukwana Lazarus Chakwera, we're going to use the same law. Akatukwanidwa president, sitiyang'ana otukwana ine ndani. Malamulo omweyo amene mutawagwiritsa ntchito mukatukwanidwa ine, we're going to apply the same laws. So tikamacheza masana ano lero, siti luchali chikocheza wake. Tiuzane zimene zimabwera mind mwanu mukaganiza Macra. Zimene timapanga comment ifewe patsamba anchezo pachitika khalwino wake walakwira lamulo kumefoti ndi wakwathu ndi mbale wathu. We don't want, as we go towards the elections, Macra, you're pouncing on us. Government, you're doing this. Tatene tutamasuka kuti lamulo imene sitimalimvetsa kuti limatijani. Ndikamagwiritsa ntchito masamba anchezo limatijani lamulo. Tilivumbulutse pano lamulolo kalipangidwa bimu apa tiliwerenge tonse limodzi. Anapanga pasi ndani. 2016, who was the president? Anapanga gazette that law. Ma MP anali ndani. Anayang'ana jani, what was their reasoning behind the passing of those laws? And any lamulo applies in its current state. If anyone is not happy with the application of that law, simply move your MPs to amend it. Como we cannot avoid or we cannot ignore using the law, limene lilipo ndi lamulo, chifoja kuti ndagwidwa ndi ineyo ndi sindikufuna ndi mangidwe ineyo. Kamene for it's your uncle who has been caught on the wrong side of that law. Malamulo tagwiritsa ntchito mmene alili. And kupanga choncho, sinkhanza za boma lina ake, sinkhanza za president wina wake. Pepani DG, ndamaliza mbuto.
Once again, let's put our hands together for the Minister of Information and Digitalization, Honorable Moses Kunkuyu Kalonga Shawa. The beauty about speeches is that it's not the speech that is powerful. It's when people start to speak outside the speech. That's so powerful. You know, most like no discussion because he started it. It's just, you know, throw upon your first punch. I wish I was there and so jab. But thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for telling us exactly how it is, because sometimes I think it's time that we start telling each other the truth. Thank you very much. Just to highlight part of the things that you said, I think we have a duty this morning and afternoon to define the relationship between the regulator and the operators. Is this a relationship? Is this a partnership? What's the difference? Kuti ndi nkhani yokuti munthu ndi haji yake, kuti ndi munthu ekhaya mangu kwera pansana pa haji, sikuti nake sizingasinthani. So we're trying to figure out what's this we have with the regulator. Thank you very much for opening that. But also just to reiterate on some of the things that you've highlighted, that Cabinet has passed the National Digitalization Policy, it was approved, but also that we've benefited $150 million in this digital space, and that Malawi is a beneficiary of many other digital infrastructure technology that we need to leverage on. I think these are opportunities that as a country we need to start understanding them, and how best do we improve the technology, because the future is digital and we need to move into that space very, very quickly. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And I think my program is correct at this time, because then I'll be asking the DG at this stage to give us his presentation. One of the few people that speaks without a speech. It's making our job very difficult as a journalist. Because and then at the end of the function, people ask, send the speech, yeah, Suleiman. Nobody has got that speech. I get calls from even people from Macra. Can you share us the speech? I'm like, it's coming from there. I feel maybe you guys, you recorded it. Can you share? He speaks from his head. Who does that? I hope the presentation is not from your head. I think it's from a laptop or somewhere. Thank you very much. At this point, may I request you, sir, to come and give us your presentation, and just quickly to tell you, I think the program after that. So after the presentation from the Director General of Macra, Mr. Suleiman, we're going to have a Q&A, question and answers, and after that, that's when we're going to have a refreshment. So we wanted just to pack the morning, and then in the afternoon, we're going to have the open consultations. Quickly, that's how the program is looking like. Now, at this juncture, may I request you, sir, to come and give us your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. You're not too far away from the truth, but here goes the presentation. Guest of honor, all protocols observed. I think this morning from my office, I would like to speak about the amendment of the laws and the new digital laws that we are pushing. First of all, I think as a matter of background, is that we are currently running on a law that was passed in 2016. And as you know, the processes of getting a law passed, it means the thoughts and the thinking of the law must have started somewhere around 2010, 11, 12. Back then, I don't think that the digital landscape was as what it is today. And secondly, was that there was an attempt to define the digital space using one law, which is the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act. When you go through that act, you see that there are a number of key issues that were compounded into one law. And it makes that particular law to be an interesting one because it is all over the place in as far as digital issues are concerned. I'll give you an example. Out of that 2016 Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act, we've pulled out the Data Protection Act. In the 2016 Act, that is just a paragraph. So you can see that out of a paragraph, there's a whole new law that has come out, and that law is going to serve a very interesting purpose in as far as the digital space is concerned. So let me expand on the Data Protection Act. We've now become digital citizens. We've now become people that are available online. We have now become people that are transacting in the cyberspace. And therefore, it is very important that citizens are protected in their digital nature. So issues of digital identity and who has your data and what are they using your data for and how much of your data is being exposed to third parties. This is very important because now someone can sit with a laptop assume the identity of someone else, open an account, and transact and do all sorts of things. Law enforcement will come after the identity of that digital persona that has done that transaction. It's very possible that the person that has transacted under the persona of Daud Suleiman is not even Daud Suleiman, is not even in Malawi. And therefore, it is very important that as law enforcement, we begin to zero in into the digital space to ensure that citizens are protected. Who is holding what data? What are they using that data for? And most importantly is that the data subjects, people that are consuming that service, should be aware of why am I giving these guys this data and what are they going to do with that data. The Data Protection Act creates a solid foundation for our digital Malawi because now the rest of the world, they've moved far ahead in matters of data protection of their citizens. It goes further to having the European Union passing a law which is called the General Data Protection Guidelines, the GPDR, which has become a beacon and a standard that all other nations should begin to follow and to play at that level. So you can see that the protection of citizens on the digital space, we are actually using European standards. We are actually using American standards. So we have no excuse to say, Malawi, is easy to safuse and to disappoint. No. As long as you are asking people to submit information about themselves, you should know that there is a new law that is now going to start following you. And that law is now effective. I think from 2nd of June 2024, the minister wrote that law into action. And Macra has an enforcement agency underneath it. So before we get to enforcement, before we get to calling you for chats, it is very important that we raise the awareness of the law to ensure that everyone begins to play the ball according to the rules that are stipulated in that law. Funny enough, including main Macra is a subject of that law. So there's a department within us that will start ensuring that whatever data that we as Macra are keeping and processing, we are following what that law is saying. So a whole new law taken out from a paragraph in the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act. Further to that, you see that that act, if you read the name, Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity, two things brought together. So now we are demolishing the cybersecurity part and expanding on it. So on the cybersecurity part, we have developed a totally new law, which is the Cybersecurity Bill, which is now defining the cybersecurity infrastructure and organs and assets that will play in the cyber Malawi. How do we defend Malawi in the cyberspace? What sort of infrastructure we should look at, and how do we define that this is what the cybersecurity infrastructure for Malawi looks like? And further to that, because now we are defining the security apparatus around it, let's now start looking at what are the sort of crimes that will be committed in this cyberspace. So there's another law that is being that has been drafted, which is now the Cyber Crimes Bill. Now the Cyber Crimes Bill is expanding on the shorter list of Zolagwa that are found in the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act. So this is why it becomes a little bit tricky now when, unfortunately, it's usually someone defaming a politician, and the politician complains to the police, and the police goes after that person, and the police says, hey, this is against the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act. But remember, it's the 2016 law. So it becomes a little bit tricky to really pinpoint so we are now expanding that to digest it and put it in plain text. These are the do's and the don'ts in the cyber world. So The Cyber Crimes Bill has listed about, is it 35? 38. So 38 crimes that you can commit with your mobile phone. And it's very important that all of us, whether you're a politician or you're a church person or you're a DG for Macra or you are a member of the general public, you should understand the 38. Because each one of them, if you do it, law enforcement will now come and say, "Good, according to the cyber crimes section 22, this one, iweyo walakwitsa." So again, what is it that in the cyber world can happen that can injure another person, that can injure another institution, that can injure our country? Also taken out of this Electronic Transaction and Cyber Security Act. And we also have another law that is coming out of that, which is now the e-evidence and the e-evidence bill. Now, because we're saying these will be cyber crimes, someone will commit the crime using a computer to injure someone else. So there has to be evidence that must be exhibited in court to prove that indeed this guy anavala chigoba ichi and analemba easy, and this is the damage that he has caused. That evidence in the digital space must be preserved. Pamene ukakhala kuno kuda basi ndasira coffee akadzilimani umboni ndoti ena nonse munaona mwaikira umboni da ya Daudi danata anakupa coffee akadzilimani. But in the digital space, we now need to find, akadzilimani ndapilirani kachinziri ndafumu wao kumchinji uku mafumu alipo angapo muno. So tidzichula mmodzi. So in the digital space as well, how do we preserve the evidence so that when it is presented before the courts should really see and appreciate kuti apapadi zinalakwika. Again, expanding on that one law, Electronic Transaction and Cyber Security Act. And we have the last bill that we are pushing out. This one now is expanding on the Communications Act. So in the Communications Act, Section 6, subsection 2, point number G, the Act gives Macra the powers to look after issues around research and development and innovation in the sector. Now, this is where it begins to be interesting about this bill. So this bill is talking about digital innovation and entrepreneurship. So it's very, very critical that we understand the limitation, even in the naming, digital innovation and entrepreneurship. Broadly speaking, we are looking at how do we protect the intellectual property around the digital space, the cyberspace, but ensuring that we create a space where startups can thrive. And when these startups thrive, how do we ensure that the startups are launching and they're becoming SMEs and they're becoming responsible corporate citizens that can employ and pay tax and therefore develop the country? Now, the word innovation is far and wide. Innovations can be in all sorts of sectors. And we are not interested in looking outside the digital space in as far as we're concerned. The world is now moving towards digital ecosystems. It's very important for us to take note of that movement in the sense that economies are now being built around digitalization. Countries are actually graduating from this pool of the poorest of the poorest, otherwise called LDCs, least developing countries. And the only major enabler that is allowing nations to move out of this pot is digitalization. A good example is Bangladesh. Another good example is Rwanda. Another good example is Kenya. Through digitalization of their economies and ensuring that government services are available on digital platforms, these countries have managed to move a step in as far as their development is concerned. Back here in Malawi, you've seen year in, year out, National Bank Innovation Awards. Hey, National Bank has given 1 million to these ones. ICTAM Innovation Awards, MAST Innovation Awards. So we've recognized people that have some innovation or some idea, but we've done it as an event. So we give them 1 million kwacha, and there's a photo opportunity, and off they go. In our universities, every year, you have guys that are writing these projects, fourth-year projects, or I don't know whether I should call them dissertations. But these are brilliant ideas that are being put, and mostly is merely for the purposes of passing the exam. After passing the exam, that whole folder gets thrown away somewhere, and off we go. Next year, there's another set of students that come in. New ideas, new thinking. They put up their projects. The teacher marks them, makonza. They get their degree. That thing is put away. The world is now moving towards what is called a knowledge-based economy. You cannot have a knowledge-based economy if you are not managing your intellectual property, if you are not managing the thoughts and ideas of your people. As we are, as a nation, we do not have that platform where we can channel in these ideas, we can channel in these thoughts, look at them, and see where this idea is falling short, see where this idea is actually making sense. How do we build the ideas that are making sense? How much money will this idea require for it to actually have an impact in our life? It needs 20 million kwacha. Where are we going to get the 20 million kwacha? So this is a kid that is at NASIT, has a brilliant idea on something around health. But he's doing it because he's passionate and he has the idea. He doesn't have the money. So we must find somewhere a vehicle that should facilitate for the acceleration of this idea so that this idea can go to the market, apply in the market, and therefore be turned into an SME. So the knowledge-based economy largely comes from the digital space. And this is why the building of digital ecosystems. Now, an ecosystem, it means that there are a number of moving parts that are turning their wheels in one direction. In this case, we are zeroing in the digital space. Our digital ecosystem as Malawi needs to be defined. How much of intellectual property do we have? How many patents as Malawi have we registered? How many trademarks as Malawi have we registered? How many of those patents, of those ideas that we have registered, have actually become products or services that are in use? And how much of money are those patents or trademarks that we have registered generating in as far as paying tax is concerned, in as far as job creation is concerned? So when we say 1 million jobs, can we, in the digital space, say, out of that 1 million, Your Excellency, we have contributed 200,000. And this is where they are. This company, that company, that company. And these are the people that are there. So the digital space requires that we are structured, requires that we are in a space that we can account, requires that we're in a space that we can channel investments into it. So we cannot do that without the law. We cannot do that without that is now ensuring that our digital space has a defined way in which we handle intellectual property. We have a way in which we are channeling ideas. We have a way in which we're building ideas. We have a way in which those ideas are becoming startups, are becoming SMEs. And at the end of the day, at the end of each year, we can count how much of these we have graduated and how much of value they're adding to the economy. So you can see that over the past 2 years, we have been very busy at the authority, ensuring that we're trying as much as possible to play to the international standard of the game. Being in the digital space means that we are now in a global village. Our computers, the moment you connect to the internet, you should know that your computer can be accessed by someone who is in Texas, someone who is in Tokyo, someone who is in New Delhi. They can connect to your computer, because on the internet, everyone becomes accessible. Now that begins to call for the issue of international collaboration. We have 2 conventions that are very key in our sector. The first convention is what is called the Malabo Convention. The Malabo Convention is under the African Union, and it is a platform where all African governments have signed up to collaborate on issues of cybersecurity. If we have a problem in as far as cyber issues are concerned, how do we interact with South Africa? If we have an issue and we know that the person that has done this is in Zambia, how does Malawi and Zambia collaborate on a digital issue or on a cyber crime issue? The Malabo Convention creates that platform for us. But because we're in a global village, we cannot just imagine that we're going to have issues with our fellow African countries. We are going to have issues with non-African countries. Then there is another one, which is called the Budapest Convention. The Budapest Convention now creates a platform where nations can collaborate on issues of cybersecurity on a nation-to-nation basis. As a nation, as Malawi, we needed to have the Data Protection Act passed. That tick box has been done. Secondly, we now need to operationalize the Data Protection Authority. That tick box has now been ticked. We now have staff that are under Macra. The department has been created, and their offices as well, they've been secured. They will operate outside Macra. Remember earlier on, I said that even main Macra is a subject of the Data Protection Authority. So we don't want to, we're trying as much as possible to create the separation. So physically, they operate outside Macra. And then the third item was for us as a country to apply to be admitted into these conventions. Those processes we have done. It now takes for the conventions, the Malabo Convention and the Budapest Convention under the European Council, for them to look at Malawi, see if we are at par with their requirements. If we are at par, they will now accept us into those conventions. If we get to there, and we've created these digital laws and these laws that I was talking about, we would have now created a safer and secured digital Malawi. Because in all forms and facets, we would have made the necessary provisions in as far as the legal and regulatory frameworks are required, both at national level as well as at international level. So as a country, as I mentioned earlier on, we cannot play the games according to Malawian level or to Malawian standards. We have very, very high standards that we have to aspire to, and this is why even the development of these laws, the Cyber Crimes Act and the Cyber Security Act, the Council of Europe, the guys that ran the Budapest Convention, they actually flew into Malawi to help us with the text, with how our laws should look like, so that our law should reflect the European standards. So these are not just attempts that, as Macra staff, on our own, we're doing these things. No, no, no. Be rest assured that the laws that we are proposing are international text, are laws that are going to be accepted across the world. So we cannot pregeta here and there just because, no, no. The rest of the world, they have one measure in which everyone else must attain to. And we're very thankful for the support that we have received from the Council of Europe, from Africa Union, from ADU, African Telecommunications Union, from CRASA, from SADC, in ensuring that the new digital laws that Malawi is proposing are laws that are within the context and are laws that are also forward-looking. So you see that all things being equal, the next sitting of Parliament, which starts this month or next month? August, which starts in August. Macra is submitting the two amendments of the current laws, the Electronic Transaction, the Communications Act, and the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act. And we are also submitting, through the Line Ministry, the 4 new bills that must be considered. One, the Cybersecurity Bill, Cyber Crimes Bill, the E-Evidence Bill, as well as the Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Bill. Hoping that by the end of this sitting, when we get to October or thereabout, we would have had these new laws now in place, which creates now a very stable, legally sound and legally healthy framework for us as a nation to move forward. So you can see the attention of the regulator that it is now moving away from economic regulation. So economic regulation, the issues of markets, a market should not fail, the issues of pricing, the issues of, hey, you cannot just raise this tariff here, hey, you must come here, hey, why are you doing this, hey, you must go there. Ensuring that the market is balancing. The regulator is now shifting towards digital regulation, ensuring that in the digital space, how are players operating, how are citizens being protected, and how are we creating an economy in the digital space. So regulation as well moves with time. We cannot be where we were in 2016. This is 2024, we're going to 2025. In 2025, actually people that were born in 2008 are going to vote for the first time. They see things differently. They touch the world differently. Their aspirations and ambitions are very, very different from the rest of us. Some of us, when we use a calculator to calculate our age, you wonder whether the calculator is correct or it is not correct. Because the number you see there, once upon a time you used to say, hey, Matao, and this is 45. Now, Panobono, you see that you are one of those that are in the 45 age range. And we see things very, very differently, you know. So the regulator as well must be moving into that space. So we cannot be stuck in one regulatory spectrum. The ITU and the rest of the world are moving towards the digital economy. Things are now moving towards digital regulation. As Malawi as well as the regulator, we are also tilting towards digital regulation. So I just thought that I should expound and give a little bit more background on those developments that the regulator is taking, but most importantly, to ensure that as we get these bills and these new laws coming into effect, a key issue will be awareness. A key issue will be Malawians being able to understand what this law is saying and what this law is doing, which is very, very critical, because otherwise it will be subject to misinterpretation. People will believe that, oh, they're now introducing new laws to stifle press freedom. They're now introducing new laws to censor the internet. But we must work together. We must be in a position that we understand why the laws are being amended, why new laws are being introduced, and what is it that those new laws are trying to address in our country. So as a digital nation, as a nation that is moving towards digitalization, we cannot proceed without a stable legal and regulatory framework. And this is why we've put in a lot of work at the regulator over the past 2 years to ensure that this text really, really does serve the purpose. But at the end of the day, that we should have a digital Malawi that has an economy which we can count on, and most importantly, that there is economic development that is coming out from our sector. With those few remarks, that would be my presentation, Wanda. I thank you very much. In the digital space, few is subjective, but that was few. Thank you.
Yes, may I also request us to put our hands together one more time for Macra Director General, Mr. Daud Suleiman. I warned you at first. I thought it was limited to speeches, but he can also do presentation without, there was nothing here. Don't you go home and remember something that you didn't say and like, I should have written something. Wow, we are blessed. Anyway, I think that's the presentation from the Macra Director General, Mr. Daud Suleiman. Honorable Minister, Madam Board Chair, just to highlight some of the issues that he said, regulatory is not static, so it's not going to just be stagnated in one place. As we're going towards the digital space, the regulation is also going to target the same space to make sure that there is sanity. Where there is no regulation, there is a lot of, well, we need sanity for us to move towards one direction. So the number to remember is that there are 38 crimes that we can commit with those gadgets that we wake up every day. Before you do anything, you check in your gadgets what you missed as you were sleeping. As you're touching those pads, 38 is the number, 38. Remember, 38. So I think the regulator is just informing us that there's need for us to remember that there are do's and don'ts, and I think in due course we're also going to understand these things better. The digital innovation and entrepreneurship, we're moving towards the artificial intelligence where people are scared now that the robots are taking over. You know, they're not the robots that are taking over. It's that person who is studying AI who is going to take your job. The robots will not take your job, but the person next to you, because they understand how they can use artificial intelligence. So these are spaces that I think as a country, as the rest of the world is entering into those spaces, as Malawi also, we entering those spaces, there's need for us to remember the Malabo Convention, the regional one, and the Budapest Convention internationally. I think we are with these remarks, few, of course, just like the DG said, with your indulgence, Honorable Minister and Madam Board Chair, this is now, I would like to ask if we can enter into Q&A, question and answer, just before we can have our refreshments. I don't know whether I have your permission for us now to go into question and answer. We wanted to do this in the next maybe 45 minutes or so, where we can have question and answer. Sorry? The PS is trying to communicate something to me. We can proceed? TG? Okay, thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will now open the floor for us to engage the Macra through the Director General, and probably if there are other specific questions maybe to the Ministry and the board that is available this morning, the floor is open. I think we can lift our hand to signify that there is something that we're seeking clarification on, and the microphones are going to come to where you are. May I request that probably we are just straight to the question so we can cut on the time. Yes, I see some hands going up. Can we start at the back? You introduce who you are and where you're from, and then you give us your question in brief, please. That microphone is not on. Please help us with that microphone.
Mr. I just wanted to know myself.
Zina lanu ndinu ndani?
No serious party. I said Agram, that's the point. The question is, Macra nikazi wa mbuyomo kuti Macra mapanga za trade centers projected my center project anambira mapanga community trade centers that then they anatenga ta post office tenga natima ena so ajani awa ma community z mafuna project remain dizodi patipo that then I also sent one question. This thing my safe, how do you do certified for hackers? My certified for hackers, how do you do those things? Certified for hackers.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So I think what we're going to be doing, we'll take a couple of questions in round one, and then I'll ask the officials to help us with the answers. I see a hand here from our gentleman over here. Please, those that are helping us with the microphones, introduce yourself and your institution, and then your question in brief.
Thank you so much, DG. I'm Charles Chimpeni, representing the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Malawi. From your presentation, as accountants have seen an opportunity which maybe we need to push. You've talked about venture capital and the alternative stock exchange. It's more of maybe a suggestion also, much as you're bringing in the bill on entrepreneurship and the like, possibly it could also extend more like bringing in business concepts and the programs to our colleagues that are studying ICT in different colleges, whether it's NACIT and MAST and others, because of the lack of appreciation in terms of issues of capital, how businesses are run and partnerships. You ably talked about failure in partnerships in Malawi. Somebody can be brilliant, an ICT expert, but he needs an accountant. One area that maybe as a nation we do well in relying on professionals are the legal professional. We rely much on them, and also the medical. You know, people do say, would talk about or threaten, say, I've got a lawyer, or this is my lawyer. I'll take this issue with my lawyers, you know. But an area which we fail much is on relying on the accountants on personal level. So I'm seeing an opportunity representing the Institute of Chartered Accountants to try to sell also our professional expertise in raising this drive of innovation by supporting those that are experts, but they don't understand how the stock exchange work, how they can go into venture capital. Somebody who doesn't have capital but has got a brilliant idea. But my contribution would be also try to put those concepts in the syllabuses of these ICT colleagues. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chimpeni. Do I see another hand? Yes, there is a hand over there. A gentleman wearing a white shirt. Would you put your hand up, sir? Yeah, over there. Same, you introduce yourself and your institution and your question in brief, please.
Right, good morning. My name is Pempo Juoza. I'm with First Capital Bank. My question is around cybersecurity. You mentioned a lot about the cybersecurity bills that are in place, and I believe part of cybersecurity deals with risk and resiliency. I wanted to find out whether in these coming bills or whether there's any framework that applies to the government or the government institutions themselves. It has talked about protecting, you've talked about protecting the people and protecting the economy so that it becomes a more productive one with all of the things that you're doing under digital entrepreneurship. But what I wanted to understand is there are some services I believe we've all experienced. For example, if you go to road traffic, someday you might be told that there's no network, in quotes, or if you go to immigration, there's no network. And we recently heard of a cyber attack or alleged cyber attack that was there. Is there any sort of resiliency framework that will be applied to government institutions? Because the more the public or the general public experiences failures or intermittences in government services, even though they are digital, our productivity as a nation might still be hindered because of maybe the lack of resiliency. So when you go to the area of cybersecurity, you want your systems and your services to be resilient. Is there a framework that applies to the government and government institutions in general? Thank you.
Thank you, Wimpo. Do we have more hands? Okay, I think that's the first round of questions. Yes, maybe I'll ask those that are going straight. I think all of them are going to Macra. Maybe through you, Bwana DG. Can we have microphone for the DG, please? So that you can respond to those questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think let me start with Pempo's question. Do we have a risk and resilience framework for government MDAs to ensure that on the government side of things, we have a stronger cybersecurity setup? The answer is yes. First of all, we have what is called the Malawi set. Malawi set also coming out of the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act is under Macra. That's our first point of contact. And further to that, we are championing the establishment of sectoral sets. Right now, we have the government set that is being set up under e-government through the ministry. And we also have the financial sector set that with the Reserve Bank of Malawi and banks, we are setting up the government set, the financial sector set. With Maren, we are establishing the academia set so that issues of cybersecurity around academic institutions, they're being dealt with the academia set. Issues around cybersecurity on financial institutions are being dealt with via the financial sector set. And then further to that, we have, through Malawi set, we actively probe on systems that are owned by MDAs, even private sectors, because of the range that Malawi set has. So we do these vulnerability tests on banks, on systems that are exposed to the internet, and the findings are shared with banks. I think FCB, there are a number of reports that we have sent to banks. There are a number of reports that we have sent to a number of government institutions just to pre-warn them that there are these vulnerabilities that we are detecting as Malawi set, and this is what you need to do to close those vulnerabilities. And in as far as documenting the risk framework, we have sent out a questionnaire to all MDAs for them to fill out, so that from a Malawi set perspective, we have a full idea and a view of all the systems that each MDA is running. Therefore, if there is an attack on any of those systems, we can activate the proper remedies to deal with that. I think whilst the immigration hack is one of the most popular cybersecurity incidents that happened, but I'm also pleased to announce that there was also another incident that happened with one of the water boards, and within 2 days that hack was resolved via the Malawi set. So you can see that MDAs are beginning to realize that there is also that framework that you're talking about via Malawi set, that they can seek for intervention and for help. On the issue of involving other professionals like accountants in the formulating of the SMEs and moving forward, I think you'd be pleased to know that Muni Fund already engages with the Accountants Board and the ICT Association and the Bankers Association. So last week we were unveiling the 70 top innovations that have gone through the first round of calls that we did. At district evaluations, each district council had a member of ICT Association. It had the panel had a member of the Bankers Association, and I'm sure the accountants firm, they were also part of the. I'm trying to locate a Muni Fund person so they can confirm. But the panel that evaluated the response was multi-sectoral, and obviously, yes, the accountants were there. And we've taken note of your suggestion that we should really entrench the digital innovation and entrepreneurship bill into colleges, and that is very, very critical. I think as these kids are going into college, they must have that idea that there is this opportunity and there's this vehicle that they can latch on. So we've taken note of that. There was a question on ethical hackers. What is it that we're doing around ethical hackers? As I mentioned, we're using the Malawi set to do ethical hacking of systems. So these reports that I'm saying, we send a report to National Bank and tell them there are these openings. Basically what Malawi State is doing is to hack into these systems, and then if they're successful, they document that, and then they send the report to the MDA or to the organization. So we do that with all systems that are exposed to the internet, and it is for a good reason, because we document the loopholes that we found, and we tell you how you can close those loopholes. So anyone who is running a system that's connected to the internet, the law, again, I'll emphasize, the law gives Macra the mandate that we can do those kind of tests and those kind of vulnerability tests. And we do that via the Malawi State, and everything that we find, we document and we send it back to the concerned party. There was a question on telecenters. The telecenter projects were policy driven from the ministry. The policy has shifted. The policy has now gone towards connected school. So now we're no longer doing telecenter projects. We are now doing connected school through the ministry and Ministry of Education. So as of now, in the last financial year, we've started with 75 labs that are being constructed. Next month, we're breaking ground for about 130 new ICT labs that are in the current financial year, and we're hoping that Parliament will be kind enough to extend some funding so that we can now do another set of 200 ICT labs by the end of this financial year. Our wish and ambition is to reach about 1,000 ICT labs by the end of 3 years from now. Hopefully these will be spread around constituencies and therefore extending the reach and coverage of ICT services even into rural areas. So we've departed from telecenters. We are now doing connected school. Those would be my attempts at those questions. I don't know, Honorable Minister. No, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DG. May I request us that we ask questions that are general to the ministry and the Macra, because the specific questions to Macra can be attended by the desks that we see in this building, because we have all the departments from Macra present in this building. But those questions that are general, then we can ask them for the officials that are sitting in front of us. Do we have any more hands? Am I allowed to ask? Because I also have my hand up. Yes. Can we have microphone to the madam?
Thank you. It's clear that the ministry and Macra are doing a lot to ensure digitalization. That's commendable. My name is Chisomo Governor. I'm from TNM. My question is to do with the laws, the new laws that are being introduced, versus the cost of implication, particularly for telco operators, as well as the fact that pricing is regulated. So all these laws and regulations are going to require significant investments into technical infrastructure, recruitment and training of personnel, as well as administrative processes. But on the other hand, we know that pricing is regulated, and running a telco is already cost intensive. So my question would be that how is Macra going to balance this competing interest so that telcos are also supported and the market thrives and also the consumer is protected? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any more questions? All right, maybe let me ask my questions as well. I have three. My first one was just to add on what Pempo said about having technical hitches, internet hitches at the immigration and road traffic. What type of internet they use, which is always down, and whether, as the regulator, you find out who are these service providers and why we have the downtown. Sometimes even banks during month end, you'll see that maybe is it the issue of capacity or what? I wanted to ask about that. And second question, this one is particularly because I'm forecasting sector. Unlike in other sectors, for example, lawyers, where you have I've never seen a non-lawyer opening a law firm. I think you need to be a lawyer for you to open a law firm. And I think an accountant to also open an accountant firm. But in broadcasting, I can sell 2,000 bags of maize and have enough money to apply for a license. And they'll give me a license to start operating a radio or TV. I mean, there's so much it is defined. This, with Macra known to be that big brother that is coming after that small brother, can we not introduce awards that in the same manner that we are closing operators that are non-compliant, we are rewarding those that are compliant? Thank you. Any more questions? If we don't have any more questions, then we'll be closing at this time so we can move to something different. So, okay, then I'll request, okay, there's one more question. That should be the last question, I hope. Your name, your institution, and your question.
Hi, my name is David Nyirenda from Telecom Networks. I hope it's at the right time. I just wanted to follow up on the progress of the universal access. I think we started talking about universal access funds in terms of rolling out network in many other areas. I don't know how far this time we can say we have achieved.
Thank you very much, sir. We've accessed them all. Yes, over to officials now, unless there are more questions. Yes, over to officials to help us with responses.
Okay. The Universal Service Fund is established under the Communications Act to ensure that areas that are underserved, so ensure that a little bit less heavy on the operators. So areas of service shall include telecommunication services, mobile networks, and broadband internet. Shall include broadcasting services, television services, and FM broadcasting services. And we shall also look at postal. And if there is an area where a courier, there is no courier area where access to TV is not attained, the Universal Service Fund is supposed to come and intervene into that. So I just wanted to bring that understanding of where the Universal Service Fund is focusing on, but most importantly also is where does it get its money from. So the Universal Service Fund gets, is it 3.5%? 3.5% of the revenue that Macra goes into the Universal Service Fund. But the law also says that Parliament should also appropriate funds into the Universal Service Fund. So since 2016, when this law was passed and the Universal Service Fund was established, we've never had Parliament pushing money into the Universal Service Fund. Largely, I think, because in the past, maybe the operations and the performance of the fund was not really very closer to Parliament, so that Parliament could appreciate. This is why earlier on I did mention that we are hoping that in this sitting of Parliament, when we go for mid-year budget review, that Parliament is going to push in some money to us. We are asking for how much? 10 billion. So we are asking for 10 billion is the Universal Service, is our current flagship project under the Universal Service Fund. Because one, it is broadening access to ICT across the country. Two, the model that we have used in construction of these ICT labs is a model that is ensuring that there is direct economic empowerment to people within the areas. The artisans that are being hired are artisans from the areas. So we have not hired a construction firm to construct these ICT labs. We are going via TVETA, and TVETA in each district, they're identifying artisans that are coming to be builders and plumbers and all sorts of things. So we are seeing a direct economic impact on the community, and most importantly now is also that each lab will have access to the internet, and it will also do a hotspot. So it will broadcast a range of about 100 meters of broadband internet. So you should imagine 1,000 ICT labs that are broadcasting 100 meters of broadband Wi-Fi across the country. That begins to light up a number of areas that traditionally mobile internet from TNM and Airtel we're not going to reach. So through the Connected School, we can see a number of opportunities that are going to open up, obviously giving more people access to the internet and digitalization. Then it begins to beg the question that you are giving people access to the internet for what? Therefore, we now need to start looking at digital skills. So via the Line Ministry, we've engaged Ministry of Education and Malawi Institute of Education to revise the public curricula. So our kids that go to private schools in primary school, they're already dealing with issues of digital citizenship. You know, back in the days when there were about 10 cars in Blantyre, we had civics in primary school, and they taught us how to cross the road. You have to look left, you have to look right, you have to look left again, and then cross the road. What is a zebra crossing? Because those were just new things emerging. There was a car, once every 30 minutes you see a car pass by. But these days, these kids are now introduced into a digital space. We need to teach them how to look left, how to look right before they cross a digital road. Public schools should not be left behind. Then we've done the process of reviewing the curricula for public schools in primary school to introduce digital citizenship as a subject. At secondary also, the target for these ICT labs was we're constructing the ICT labs in CDSSs. So that we encourage students in the secondary school level to look at computers, at digitalization. And we are also working with the Ministry of Education and MIE to introduce computer programming as a subject at secondary school, hoping that with these ICT labs that we have built, we've given them computers, we've given them access to the internet, and they're learning computer programming. Maybe these kids will now begin to work around some sort of apps and all sorts of things, so that they can now latch on to the digital innovation and entrepreneurship fund, so that we can see all these startups and ideas from all over the country coming in. So that's the area of concentration for the Universal Service Fund now. In the past, yes, the issues of radio access network and construction of towers was very, very key. But this time around, the focus has just shifted a bit to deepening digitalization and using the Connected School as a flagship. So even the issue of reviewing of the syllabus, primary school syllabus and secondary school syllabus, that is also a USF project. It is not a Macra project. That is being done under the USF. And 2 months ago, we had a delegation from the ministry and MIE and Macra and USF visit Rwanda, and they went to Kenya for benchmarking, so that as we produce our curricula for primary and secondary school, we are at least slightly above Rwanda and Kenya's offering in as far as their curricula is concerned. Macra is known to being harsh with operators. What about the good ones that are doing well? I think that is a request through the board chair, that there are certain operators. Of course, Times is not one of them, but there are others that behave very, very well. Isn't it time that, Madam, you consider something? So I think that has been heard. Restriction on licensees, again, we're operating on the law. The way the law is how Macra interprets it and acts on it. We don't have the powers to restrict who can apply and who cannot apply. And this is why we now have a strange occurrence where government MDAs are coming to apply for radio licenses at Macra when we have the public broadcaster. Macra's outside the law thinking is that Police FM should operate under Malawi Broadcasting Corporation, and it should be a channel under Malawi Broadcasting Corporation. If Minister of Agriculture wants to do Alangizi FM, it should be under Malawi Broadcasting Corporation as a channel. If MRA, they want to do Songho TV, it should be under Malawi Broadcasting Corporation. But that's the outside non-law thinking. The law says anyone can apply. So anyone shall be the police, the Inspector General, submits an application for a radio station. The board has no powers to say no, go to MPC, until if we can change the law or via regulations as a policy, the ministry can now say that every MDA should go to MPC. And maybe we can also then introduce a regulation that says for you to apply for a radio license, these are the criteria that we're going to look at. But without that in the law, we cannot. And after all, we have a free labor market. We would not want to be seen as infringing on people's rights to participating in the sector. But rest assured, I think, Wanda, you'd agree that as of now, all pretenders in the broadcasting sector are out of the market. The ones that we have are serious people that are meaning business. So I think the market has shaken off by itself, and this is why we are not even seeing a whole lot of traffic on applications, because people are thinking, and so I think we've set the sanity, compliance issues, Madam Toff, the broadcasting sector. What's the compliance rate now in terms of payment of fees? And they're not the most. Yes, yes. No, but you don't have people owing you a lot of money in the broadcasting sector. We do. Okay, it's times one of them. So. No, we'll check the books. Yeah, so network issues as service providers. I think the good analog to this is look at what's happening in Lilongwe, the road infrastructure. Because there are more people that have flocked to Lilongwe, it has necessitated for the roads to be expanded so that people, cars, traffic can flow much quicker on the roads. The very same people that have moved on the roads, the physical roads, are also using the digital roads. So issues of capacity at TNM, obviously I'm looking at Lloyd here because he would understand that the amount of expansion of their capacity in Lilongwe that has happened digitally is a reflection of what is happening on the ground. This then begs the question to say, our back-end infrastructure as a country, how much of capacity have we put in? Are we also extending the digital roads so that the banks that are connecting the road traffic that are connecting these immigration people that are, because at the end of the day, there is one big M1 that we in the digital space also use. For a bank FDH branch in Karonga to receive a deposit, they have to come all the way to Blantyre to verify on their systems and go back all the way to Karonga. So imagine all these companies that are running on this M1 road that we have, the digital M1 road. Are we expanding it? So the biggest player that has the biggest M1 road in Malawi is obviously Eskom Fiber. is the ESCOM fiber being expanded to reflect the growing demand of traffic and transactions. So we are now waking up to that reality that our digital roads must be expanded at organization level, but at the same time at a national level. So this is why there is also another project that we are undertaking to see if we can consolidate government's infrastructure, because you have fiber that is running something called GWAN, you have fiber that is running something called ESCOM, you have fiber that is running something called MDBNL, and you have fiber that is running something called MTL. And in all of these, there is government interest and investments, but these things are running up on the up. If we pull them together, do we then create one bigger M1 that would be able to carry a whole lot of more traffic? How would that look like, and how can we do that? So yes, the issues of network speeds, they have to be improved. We've seen the coming in of Starlink, for instance, very, very, very big speeds that are being offered. Not everyone can afford that, and we've seen reactions from Airtel and TNM. They've come to Macra to also upgrade their network, to ask for more spectrum, to do all sorts of things. So the reactions to the market are there, and we're hoping that slowly we'll get to a point where the issues of network gear tower or network gear SOA, that excuse has to come out. Unfortunately, that's the closest excuse that any provider gives. So it may not be network, it could be something else, but Magada by ATM will tell you network gear tower. So again, issues of digital literacy, we need to begin to understand how these things work, and most importantly, service provision in the digital space. You cannot just say network gear tower, therefore you are off the hook. You know, you cannot go down for 5 days and there are no digital repercussions to you. We are moving into that area where people are not going to be held accountable. You cannot just go down without you reaching out or providing the exact remedies of what has happened. So we are learning. That's why I said the digital space is here. All of us are being introduced to it, and through collaboration, we're going to fix this. The cost of implementing the new laws, is Macra factoring that in? The answer is yes. The mobile industry, you guys are running systems that are international, or standards that are international. Very soon, we're now going to start talking about ESG. The moment we're done with data protection, we're coming now on the environmental sustainability. Your towers, TNM, how much of carbon are you emitting? What are you doing to avert that? And what is the investment? And very soon, you'll be required to employ an ESG officer that must be there. You know, data protection will require that you have some people in your organization that are solely dealing with data protection. So that's the cost, yes, but that's the cost of doing good business. I know MTN has a chief ESG officer who reports directly to the chief executive officer of MTN, both at Africa level and at South Africa level. And MTN is the same as Airtel, is the same as TNM. So just that in South Africa, they've started dealing with the issues of environment because they are done with the data protection issues. They are now looking at the environment. Ife, tangwamba kukiani vanoboya data protection. Kena kono tukubwera ano ndiajani ESG. ESG, we already have the e-waste policy that was passed by cabinet, and now it is just us now activating that and coming. So Dawuzani Maeso. Start looking at issues of ESG in your networks, in your operations, how you're going to deal with that to ensure that we have a better environment for the generations that are coming. I think those were the questions that I can pick on. I don't know.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know, maybe as the DG was answering those questions, something has come up. Because if it doesn't, then we'll have to close. Something has come up? A follow-up question? Yes, sir. Quickly, the microphone for a follow-up question. We need a microphone here. Put your hand up, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, DG. I think you explained extensively on the Universal Fund. My question is just to find out more. So far, are all the operators part of this or paying the 3.5, or there are just a few that are paying? I appreciate that we are also asking the government to provide additional funding. But this 8.8 billion, who have contributed, and are there policies that are helping the ones that have contributed this money to do better? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Yes, there is a question next to him, just like there. Yes. Your name, sir, and your institution. Yeah, it's on.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Damika Jumbe. I am from Nitel. What awareness plan is Macra going to conduct for the 38 that we've been taught to keep to memory? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That's our last question, and I think I'll ask the DG once again to respond. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's start with the cyber crimes bill. We would have to do extensive public awareness on this. The same issue with the data protection, the Data Protection Act. We've operationalized it, but we need to do a lot of public awareness. So everything else, I think it rests on our execution for the communication plan for the digital laws. We're just calling this whole thing as digital laws, so that there is more awareness and knowledge about what these laws are doing. So we will switch a gear up to ensure that every Malawian in both Chichewa, Tumbuka, Yao, as well as English, that we have these things translated and provided to the people at the lowest level. The Universal Service Fund, who has contributed and who has contributed the most, as I mentioned, that's why I asked the Director of Finance to check on the compliance rate on payment of fees in the broadcasting sector and in the postal and courier sectors. So you see that even courier operators, we've been hard on a few of them. Others actually we've refused renewing their licenses because they were not paying the levy to Macra. Radio stations, TV stations, TNM, Airtel, Nitel, all of you contribute to the fund. But remember that we're taking 3.5% of the gross annual revenue for Macra at the top. That's the one that we're giving to Universal Service Fund. So as we pull out the 8 billion from the Macra money to go to USF, USF does not see, hey, Airtel already was a 7 billion. It's only the DOF that knows at the top who has contributed more. Obviously, it is you, Airtel, and TNM, because you are the big brothers and you are the ones that are charging us more. And therefore, you're making more money, and it is on your more money that we are also making more money as Macra, and that's why Universal Service Fund is having more money. We hope that you can do better so that we get more money, and USF gets more money, and we get more of these USF projects. The key issue is for us to really externalize this USF so that we fully see the activities and projects of USF. And that's why we've gone very hard on the Connected School and to work closely with the members of Parliament so that they fully understand. Because there was a misconception that kulichitumba jina jake ku Macra chima chidwa USF. The Macra doesn't know how to use this money. Therefore, year in and year out, this money just keeps piling up. We had pressure from MPs, we had pressure from CSOs to really say, what are you doing with this money? But now I think in the next 2 months, your 8 billion is going to be depleted. I feel sorry for you, but her bank balance, the projects that are coming in, there's a lot of payments that are going to be made out of that money. So the whole essence of the Universal Service Fund is not for it to retain the money; it is for it to invest the money in the sector. So I'm very careful to pick the word invest in the sector, so that we brighten up those gap areas, underserved areas, so that next year when they do a gap analysis at the Universal Service Fund, they should not find the areas that they found this year to be underserved. Those should now be saved. We should find new areas that are underserved. And then if we move on, we'll find out that we can now end up with universal service provision across the spectrum and to everyone else. Now, I think those would be my responses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are more hands are coming through, so I don't know if you're in diligence, if we could just take those last two. Please, yes. Those microphone, please bring them in front. There's a gentleman over here. Your name, sir, and your institution, and then there's another one over there. Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning. I'm Evans Chisiano. I'm from the Regional Information Office in the South. The DG has just mentioned about the courier operators. Of late, I've discovered a lot of curing taking place through minibuses. Should I say that there is a low marketing among the legally authorized courier operators, or you as a regulator, you're not biting hard on the minibus operators? I don't know.
Thank you. Tindike nagake mutinyamulire amatero. Anyone going to Lilongwe? Tindike nagake. Yes, sir.
I'm Sidney Kankuzi from the University of Malawi. I'm asking a question based on what the DG has just said, mentioning courier services. My personal experience is that courier services in Malawi are very slow. When a parcel arrives at Kia, for example, maybe it took 2 days to arrive from the UK. It can take 4 days to get to Zomba. One of the challenges that I've noted also is that it's very hard, maybe impossible, to track a parcel within Malawi when you send it by courier service. We usually depend on the phone asking, has the parcel arrived? And when it's not delivered and you've not followed up, it can stay 5 days in some office, maybe in Lilongwe, Blantyre. Could Macra do something to make sure that there is a clear, good tracking system? So when I send my parcel today, I should follow it in all the stages the way we do it internationally.
Thank you very much. And I think I've seen that there's no question to the minister, so I'll attempt to ask the minister, because he should at least respond to a question. Honorable Minister, while we were not there, the operators and the regulator, we've been antagonizing each other in terms of why do we have to pay for our licenses in dollars. So it's always been said, can you talk to the police order? Maybe they can assist. You've said we can be free today, so allow me to ask, is there a consideration that one day we're going to start paying for our licenses in Malawi kwacha, because we don't seem to understand why we have to pay in dollars when we are in Malawi. The attempts that the regulator has tried to give us, they are not convincing, to say the truth. I hope I don't get to lose my job for the next event. And lastly, to you, Bwana DG, is somebody listening to our calls? The operators are here, you are here. We have now turned into a country that are making WhatsApp calls because we believe somebody is listening to our calls. Are you listening to our calls? Should we be making WhatsApp calls and feel safer that no one is listening to our calls, or we can continue making our calls, no one is listening to them. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. I think the courier questions, Bennett, you take them. But, okay, let me just attempt to answer the last question. Is Macra listening to our calls? So, TNM, you are here. I think this, you should explain how Macra can listen to TNM calls that are made over your network. So is it possible for Macra to listen to a TNM call, TNM to Airtel call over GSM? Can you please explain?
Yeah, put on a... I hope to pocket some allowances when I leave. No, I'm joking. But it's not that easy. So you should be assured that it's very safe for you to communicate on the normal channels. You know that I know maybe you are taking it from other institutions in Europe and developed nations. Possibly there can be a way of tracking. We don't have that technology per se, we don't have. And it requires Macra, if they have to do that, they have to be under the law for them to do that. But also that equipment is only, I think, in a few selected countries by secret services where they can do some kind of tracing for criminals, but it's not possible to put in an infrastructure onto a network and listen to a specific call. This over time, because there is a lot of encryption that the vendors that produce this equipment have put into place. So the data does not go the way you hear it on the other end. It goes through a lot of translation. So as much as you are speaking in Chichewa, it is encoded into digital, and that digital is again encrypted and transmitted over. And then on the other hand, the device will have to decrypt it, convert it back to digital, and then convert to the syllables that were now said by the other party. So it's very safe. Macra should not be able to listen to any conversation. So you should feel secure and not switch maybe the mode of communication or even completely stop speaking at all. It's not possible. So that's what I can give you as an answer. It's nearly impossible to happen, and it's not happening because they have to put devices. There is nothing that they have in our premises at all. Thank you. Okay, my name is Lloyd Goira. I'm the Chief Technical Officer for TNM. So I think that's the answer I can give you. If they will develop tools, we'll be able to come back to you that maybe there is a way you can listen. But we know that the operators now, suppliers, Huawei, Ericsson, Nokia, have gone deep into this in terms of encryption and is guided by the ITU and other institutions that manage communication. Thank you.
So he is the Chief Technical Officer. Mwini wake wa makina ose aku TNM ndamene. And akunena pakuti sezingatheke kumvetsera Macra kumvetsera ma calls anu mukamapanga. Chimodzimodzinso ndi Airtel, right? Yeah, so zambiri zikumabwera chifukwa choti mwina taonera mafilimu kapena tamvera zinthu kuti maspy amatani chanchani, then we begin to think kuti zitakutheka. So yeah, even me, I get people calling me on the normal call, say, digi dikirani kai ndikuimbeni pa WhatsApp chifukwa iyi siri safe mumamvera. So the people that work at Macra are almost, they are in here. We don't have an underground bunker where we have people with headphones waiting. Record by many. And the randomness of calls that are made, you know, you'd have to have people 24/7 listening in. You must really be a top criminal or something that should attract such investment and attention towards you. You know, so rest assured, even the technology owners themselves, they cannot allow Malawi to tamper with their systems because these are providing solutions to many countries. And the moment people know the platform ya Nokia ku Malawi, the government of Malawi is doing such things, you're going to solve their business. And Malawi, the business you give to Nokia is change for them compared to what Nigeria or Kenya is giving them. So there's no way that they would want to lower the standards just because of Malawi. There was another issue. He misrepresented it. They don't pay in US dollars, but they pay in Malawi Kwacha. You receive Malawi Kwacha, isn't it? But the invoice that you send out is in Malawi Kwacha, isn't it? Yeah. But the costing is based. The price is based on a US dollar valuation. But when we send them an invoice, it is in Malawi Kwacha. They come to pay us Kwacha. So on that basis, Bwana, you can respond by saying good.
No. Koma now, abapo ndi kuti mwachenjera bwino. Because in Mauka Hiran, they said he presented it wrongly. Ndivomezane nano. Mena afotokozera DG mundezona zake zenizeni. Imene mapweteka ndiyo kuti osanguti chaja makwacha obwanji. Mukumatuza limwe lipatse madola makuti. You see kuti when the invoice is when the mtengo is charged based on the dollar, koma mukalipira makwacha, that means there is some conversion that has taken place. And who does that conversion is obviously not the Ministry of Information. There you see the presence of the Reserve Bank of Malawi, which sits under the Ministry of Finance. So all these dollarizations are guided by the Reserve Bank of Malawi, which is under the Ministry of Finance. Kotero, nduna ya information, sinena kuti tisintha mawa, kuti tsopano muyambe kutchula mitengo yanu makwacha, ndipo mukalipire makwacha awo. Koma we take this kuti tipite nacho ku Ministry of Finance kuja kuti kodi ma-operators akudandaula they are being charged based on the dollar imene mukumadza sungunula inu amakhala ndikupereka invoice ya makwacha chimene chocho ngati umafuna ndikocha choncho ndekuti ina limene titelo koma it is an issue that has really been on the table for quite some time, and we believe kuti muli nkhani ndithu mmene momo. Allow me to take it up with the Minister of Finance. They will give us their justification, and then so it can be done today before we have the next interface. Hoping good is indeed how in the Gambena Finance at Vatsemayanko, Kumasumagosana, the Fasena Binoguseri, Kudimena Magic and Ham. There has been this discussion for quite some time, and I believe it's high time we had solid responses to this. Thank you very much.
And then I have the acting director of Postal and Courier to ably handle the two questions around Postal and Courier. Chief.
Thank you very much. The first question is on illegal courier operations in the country. I will address it this way. We carried out an awareness across Malawi, targeting border entries and other places within the country to educate and create awareness on the consequences of illegal courier operations. Because in the Communications Act of 2016, doing courier business without a license from Macra is criminal. And the punishment is 2 years imprisonment and 1 million kwacha fine. So the law is covered on that side. So apart from the awareness that we did, we are also planning to do a consultation workshop. Luckily, the DG already approved our plan to have a consultation workshop on entities that we think are doing courier business in Malawi, the minibus operators and some trucks. So we have already organized a workshop to talk to them and create awareness, because we did a benchmarking on how other countries in Africa are handling illegal courier issues, especially what they do in Kenya. So we discovered that apart from
a provision being in the law that we can go and pounce on them. We can do proactive regulation by ensuring that we identify the illegal courier operators, bring them into the fold, make sure that they have the licenses, and we move together going forward. Because at one point we engaged the police on illegal courier operations. They were ready to start pouncing on all illegal courier operations in Malawi, but they asked us a question: do you have enough space for warehousing? We know they move parcels and whatever, and we are discussing internally with our legal department. We have our 2 lawyers present here. They can also confirm that, on how we can move forward in addressing issues of illegal courier operations. Should we strictly stick to the law and start arresting people? Or should we go the Kenya way? Proactive regulation on identifying them, bring them on board, have our board look at their applications, and have them getting the licenses so that they can do courier operations legally within the country. That's the first point. The second is on speed of delivery of courier items, and especially the issues about international, because you talked about the airport. We have an MOU with Malawi Revenue Authority for quicker processing of courier operations at our ports of entry, especially Kamuzu International Airport. So we'll continue engaging Malawi Revenue Authority to ensure that they also prioritize courier items when they are doing their issues at the airport. On top of that, we also gave deadlines to the newly licensed operators to ensure that they have track and trace systems in their operations. The licensed operators that were licensed 2, 3, 4 years ago, they have track and traces. If you go to DHL, you go to Smart Deliveries, you go to Post Office and other courier operators, they have a track and trace system. But the newly licensed operators, they don't have. So we have given them a timeline within which they should have a track and trace system. So we are following up on that agreement, including Times Courier. We gave you the timeline within which you have the track and trace system in place. That's the first part. The second is we also want to implement a computerized tracking system within Macra. We are calling it registered mail monitoring system. What we want to do is to have that computerized system connected to all track and trace systems of all the licensed courier operators in Malawi, so that we can be checking on the speed of delivery while we are at Macra in our offices. Even using my phone, checking on the speed of delivery of DHL, of FedEx, Smart Deliveries, Malawi Post Corporation, and all other licensed courier operators operating in Malawi. Because currently, they have to submit their performance to Macra manually. So we have to accept that manual submission. But now we want a computerized way of confirming whether they are meeting the targets that they are given in their licenses. So there are 2 processes that we want. They should have a track and trace system, the timelines are in place, and we are also developing a computerized system at Macra to enable us assess how they are doing. When they accept a parcel, how much it takes, when the number of days it takes from one place to another, and how they are delivering the parcels. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Today, it is sometimes difficult for courier operations or courier operators to deliver at the doorstep. Mostly, they ask for your phone number. You indicate your phone number, ikafika pena, they have to call you, and you go to their office to collect. Why? Because we don't have a developed national addressing system. What is national addressing system? It is a comprehensive addressing system that will ensure that every resident in Malawi has a physical address. Today, most residents in Malawi do not have a physical address. So, every property in Malawi will have a number. Every street in Malawi will have a name. every big building in Malawi will have a name and will have digital maps. All that information will be inputted into a database, and you can use a house number and a street name to locate a place using an application that we are also going to develop in collaboration with Moon Fund. So with Moon Fund, we're going to develop an application that will be helping any resident in Malawi to locate a particular place. So for courier operators, in the licenses, we are supposed to be doing doorstep delivery of parcels. But now, we are allowing them not to be doing doorstep delivery because we don't have a comprehensive addressing system. That's what we are now doing, to have a comprehensive addressing system in Malawi to allow courier operators to be delivering, even collecting from the doorstep. Thank you very much, DG.
The establishment of the Malawi Post Corporations, the Udima Abatsa so mandate number 9, and in the courier, the post courier, which has also been serving some underserved areas, and we have seen other courier companies riding on the equipment of Malawi Post Corporations. Lately, we heard that there are massive retrenchments at the Malawi Post corporations. And just a few weeks ago, we heard that the buses have been grounded. Obviously, if some of the courier companies have been riding on the capacity of Malawi Post corporations, it would mean the grounding of their fleet, their buses, would also to some extent affect those courier companies that have been riding on the capacity of Malawi Post corporations. PMG, you've been very quiet. I would want you to say something on the status of Malawi Post corporations, the massive retrenchments that have been in the media, the grounding of your buses, where are we heading to? And when we look at the room that you were giving to other courier companies, especially to reach those underserved areas. Thank you very much, Madam PMG.
Thank you very much. That's your question, Madam, from your boss.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister and PS, Board Chair of Macra, and board members present, CEO of Macra, and Macra Management. It is true that Malawi Post Corporation has retrenched some members of staff. The reasons being, some of them did not have the required qualification. Even in Boma, Masikwano, which could be the highest employer, Amanina Kuti MSCE. But Malawi Post Corporation had members of staff that did not even have JCE. Ena, even just a certificate, Amalepera Kubanga produce. Now we are in the era of digitization. Kuti titenge computer, tikampatse muntu amene uja. Saigwiritsa ntchito. Mubwera post office, muli anthu 4. But you spend 1 hour kuti akuthandizeni chifukwa chani. Ma tools amene taika post office to assist the customers cannot be used effectively to assist the customers. The track and tracing we are talking about, we need someone who is able to understand and ably assist a customer. Much as we are doing those retrenchments, I ask you to also observe that we are also advertising. So, we are retrenching others, but we are also creating employment. Because we want to fill the skills gap that we have so that we can ably help you. Mutitawa ma post office mu ngati tisakuthandizani bwino and will not have revenues to invest kuti tidzikupangani serve efficiently. We will not have revenues kuti tidzipanga service zinthu zina ngati mabasi. So maybe enough about the retrenchments. I hope mwatimvetsa. Kuti one, we need staff yoti tikozogwira nayo ntchito so that we can ably save you. We can efficiently save you. Two, buses. Yes, we have as a corporation, through our board, of course, in making the decision, made a decision to ground the buses. The buses were also carrying some, courier consignments, ours and for other operators. But every trip recently has been a loss, even with the other consignments from other courier operators. Because when we try to discuss with them to agree on reasonable rates, they complain. So yes, we are doing universal service, but are we going to undertake universal service on other operators that are profit making? Tichimvetse ichi ndi chinthu chaboma ete chikutithandiza tonse at the end of the day, koma noti chiyendetse moti chikamatithandiza tonse at the end of the day nachonso chiyende kuti chipitirire. So as far as Malawi Post Corporation is concerned, we are putting controls kuti the customer consignments that we were carrying as Malawi Post Corporations apitirirebe. Because you can imagine using a bus that has also carried, customer consignments, koma bus so imene anyamula anthu, and it's a loss. Mwina the tonnage imene tanyamula on that day is about 1 ton. With a bus, we'll pay maybe 3 times more to transport those consignments. Koma if we put a 1-ton truck, we'll pay less. The buses have aged, and we were not able, because of the way we started in the bus business, we were not able to replace them within 3 years, because the concept required that at least we should be able to replace the buses within 3 years. But we bought 7 buses, and in the first year, 3 buses were involved in road accidents. So it meant that from the first year, the anticipated revenues, it was not possible for us to attain those revenues. We have struggled on, knowing that we also provide universal service. But we need to maintain those buses that are aging as we service you. Because mind you, if you carry a passenger, you're carrying a life. Now, if we keep on with those aged buses, and maintenance is getting to be a problem, the buses are eating into the revenues of the other businesses that we have. If we keep on, we'll be financing the buses, but we'll not be able to finance courier. There are complaints here about consignments not being delivered on time. For example, for Malawi Post Corporation, if you have to deliver a consignment in Zomba, if you have to stick to the customer prescribed, delivery time, it means the customer, for example, has to pay more. Because it means you have to assign a vehicle, for example, on a daily basis, because we get parcels on a daily basis. You assign a vehicle from the airport, which is Lilongwe, to Zomba, another vehicle from the airport to Mulanje, another vehicle from the airport to Cholo. Really, honestly, is that going to be a profitable business? No. But we try to provide, to subscribe to what the customers are looking at. But as we are trying, we need revenues that we can apply, to meet the customer demands. So yes, we are re-strategizing on buses. We have not made a clear statement to say we'll never venture into buses. But we have 4 buses on the road, and every day it's a loss. We have to re-strategize. There are other options that we can use. So we may come back, and we may come back having learned, better lessons because we've been in the bus business. But at the moment, the buses are eating into revenues of other businesses, and as a result, it is affecting the efficiency of the corporation. Thank you.
Much, Madam PMG. I was really thinking that the Honorable Minister was asking you a question, but I know him, he's a clever minister. He was actually giving you a cross so that you can shine. And yeah, you've explained. That was a good cross from the Honorable Minister. Thank you very much, Madam. You've explained very well. I think at this juncture, we've come to the end of the morning session. So what is going to happen after this, we're going to go for some snacks, and then we're coming back in the afternoon where we are having now the open consultations, because we're here up to around 4 p.m., where then we get to go to the different tables and get to ask specific individual questions that we may have for Macra. But for the closing of the morning session, may I request Macra Board Chair, Madam Bridget Chibwana, to close this morning session for us. Madam.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies, Honorable Ministers, fellow directors, Madam Postmaster General, DG and team, colleagues. This marks the end of the morning session. But before we go for the refreshments, I would like to ask DG to share your presentation, at least in the form of rough notes, because what you presented is very crucial, and it is important that our stakeholders understand the future of this country in terms of the telecommunications sector, as well as the policy and the laws that are coming. So colleagues, please be assured that DG will share his presentation with all of us. And I take it that the Secretariat has given you an opportunity to fill in your email addresses so that the Macra management can share that presentation with you. Let me thank you for your input, comments, questions, and responses from our policymaker, the Minister, Madam Postmaster General, TNM, and the Macra management. We will continue to engage this afternoon and beyond, and you're also welcome to submit further comments or questions through our email address, dg@, and we really appreciate your presence. We don't take it for granted. Thank you very much. May God continue blessing you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, refreshments or lunch are served. Bon appetit.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. May I request us to remain seated as I ask the high table, the Honorable Minister and the team to use this door as we're going to go for the refreshments, and then I'll tell you what we're going to do after they've left. Thank you very much. Big hands for us for this morning session. Thank you. All right. Yeah. May I ask for your attention, please? Just one small announcement. As we are getting our snacks, the Macra staff members are going to be present in their respective positions, so we can grab a snack and come and engage them. So we're not closing this room per se, but we're just going where the snacks are. We grab the snacks and come back here where we can continue to engage the Macra staff members that are going to be present in those desks that we see around this room. I thank you very much.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me